Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's lovely to have you with me. Today I'm taking part in the Stampin' Around UK video hop, which is once a month. Lots of us UK demos get together to do a little video hop for you. And this month our theme is fun folds. I'm not a great fun fold fanatic, but I quite like a challenge every now and then, and so I've come up with this little card. Must admit straight off that it's not my original design. I was inspired very much by Jackie Williams, who is, I'm just going to check that is her name, Jackie Williams, Stampin' Up Independent Stampin' Up Demonstrator, and I think if I look her up, she is in New Zealand. She's a New Zealand demo. Jackie Wilson, yeah. Jackie Williams makes some lovely things, so do check her out. I will put a link to her blog on the her blog on my blog when I put the blog post up, so do take a look at her. So this was very much inspired by her design, and it's a crossover. I don't know, what does she call it? I'm just trying to think what she called it. Let me go back and see. I don't know what she called it. Can't see it. Oh, there we go. Crossover fun fold card, she called it. So yeah, so there you've got 3 panels that kind of interlock. And what was really clever about this one, she did several different styles. What I loved about this one was how she used the Dainty Delight dies, and it looks like it's all one piece until you take it apart, and then it's very cleverly done. So I thought that was really nice. So I'm going to show you how I made it. So I've got a sheet here of our thick basic white cardstock, and I am going to cut it down to 5.5 this way, 5.5 inches. I'm doing it in inches because that's what Jackie did. So there we go. So get rid of that bit, and then this piece we're going to, it's going to be 8. We need to do it, which just makes the measuring a bit easier rather than 8, and it measures 8.25 this piece. We're just going to trim a little bit off just to make the measuring a little bit easier, and then we are going to score at 2 both ends. One there, turn it round, and one there. So that's our card blank. We'll need my trimmer again in a minute, but I'm just going to burnish these score lines and make sure it fits together. I had to trim the last one I made. I did have to trim a little bit, didn't quite meet. That's not bad actually. It's just a tiny bit, so I'm just going to trim a tiny bit. You might find this that it doesn't quite fit, so you want it to fit exactly. So just trim the tiniest piece off. You see that? That's the tiny piece that I've trimmed off, and then hopefully it's still overlapping a little bit, so I might just trim the slightly bit more off here. Just if you measure more accurately than me, you might not find this a problem. There we go, that's fine. There's a little gap in the middle there now, but that's fine. I'd rather have that than it overlapping. So let's just burnish these again. And get rid of those bits. There we go. And burnish the edges where you've trimmed, because you get a little lip from the trimmer. So burnish them and you get rid of that, and you have nice smooth cardstock. There we go. Right, now for the panels, we need 3 strips which measure 3.5 by 1.5. So I've got a piece of cardstock here which I hope is going to be big enough. Find a ruler. Does this measure 3.5 across? Yeah, so I can cut that down to 3.5, and then I'm going to make 1.5. Cut 1.5, 3 strips at 1.5, which are going to be the 3 lift up panels on the front of my card. And then before we adhere them to our card base, I'm going to stick on some embossed pieces. So I've got those 3 pieces, and now I'm going to cut 3 embossed pieces to fit on there. So I've embossed this, which with this embossing folder, which is called Crosshatch. It's part of our online exclusive, so it's not in the catalogue. You get a set of 3 3D embossing folders, all of which I love. Can't remember the price, but they're good value, I felt, for that set. So I've used them a lot. So we're going to cut this down to, we're going to cut off this little end here. And I want this to be slightly smaller than our panels. Oh, put it up. I'm going to cut this down. So I'm not going to cut it to 3.5 again. I'm going to cut it 1/8. Is that 1/8? 1, 2. Yes. Sorry, my brain is so hot in here. My brain isn't working today. It's hitting 30 degrees again in the UK, which is just too hot for me. Right. So that's right. Yes. And then again, just 1/8 of an inch smaller than the 1.5. So 1 3/8 we're doing here, and they should fit our panels perfectly. Right. It's been just too hot to be making videos recently. You might have noticed a dearth of videos if you're one of my followers. Just too hot, but I have got a fan on today, which hopefully keep me cool. I'm sorry if you can hear it going away in the distance, but there's no way I could be in this room doing this without a fan on. It's just too hot. Some of you might know I have a condition, a chronic condition. I have MS, multiple sclerosis, and one of the symptoms of MS is that an intolerance to heat, and I have to say that's one of the things that I suffer with a lot. I can't cope. I don't like being outside at all where I'm not going to be able to escape it. Unfortunately, our house does mostly stay nice and cool, but even in this weather it does get warm. Right, okay, so these are going to layer on top here with just a little border around them. I'm just going to trim that. It's a little bit rough edge there. Trim that off. So a little bit of Tombow. I've got my Tombow in my jar, ready to go. So it's turned down all the time, and then a cocktail stick. Just smooth my glue out. If you've watched me before, you've seen me doing this. Not everybody does this, but it's one of my little foibles. So 3 panels to do this on. There we go. Like so. And the last one. So this is not thick basic white, because these are just for panels. So these are and they're strengthened by the fact that there's 2 layers. If it was only going to be 1 layer, I might still have used the thick, but because it's 2 layers, I've just used our normal, which is slightly cheaper. That's the reason I'm saying that, is because it's slightly cheaper. The thicker is a bit more expensive. I do get through a lot of he still want to call it Whisper White. It's a long while ago we had Whisper White, and then the factory that made it went out of business, and so now we have Basic White. Still want to call it Whisper White. Right, okay, and these are going on our card. I'm going to glue this one on this side, this one on this side, and this one on this side. So I'm going to measure 1 3/4, because I only want to glue half of it. So I'm going to glue half of it and then glue that down on one side. So that's going about there. And then I'm going to do another one. Again, I'm going to mark at 1 3/4. Someone was asking me about my pencils the other day. They're just Bic mechanical pencils. They're very cheap, but it means you've always got a sharp point and you've always got an eraser handy. I love them. I use them all the time, and I get through quite a lot. They do have some spare leads in them, but I use them as well, and so I get through quite a lot. And one of my lovely team members once sent me a pack of them, which I think I've used up now, but that was lovely of him as well. Right, and this one is going on the other side. This one is going to be down on the other side. So again, just glue half of it. Spread it out. and this one is going on this side. So I did the top two so that I can get them, then I can get the mid one really equidistant, like so. And that's how they all fit together. Now, of course, you can decorate this with whatever you like. So that basic pattern would make a whole multitude of cards, but I'm going to do the same as I did with this one. I'm making exactly the same card, actually, which is unusual for me. Normally I change something or I change the colours, but today I'm doing exactly the same. So I have already die cut 2 of these fronds. So this is from the Dainty Delight dies. They're not in here because I've got them out somewhere. So I'm using this curly stem die, which goes in here, and this and this. The 2 daisies, the full daisy and the half daisy, and then I'm just using the centres as well. The cuts out 4 little centres. So there we go. So that's going to go on there. But what I did was I trimmed this so that you could open it still. So I'm just going to cut this there and glue that on. And that means that the panels will open, but it will still look like this goes all the way along. So that is going there. And then this next bit is going, so just trimming where the end of the panel is. I'm going to use the daisies, so once you stuck the daisies on, you won't see those joins so much. Jackie didn't actually demonstrate how she did this. She showed how to make the basic card, but she didn't demonstrate how she actually made this card, as far as I could see, unless I missed it. So this might be your only chance to see it being made. And then this one, now I need to cut a little bit off here because that's going on the end. So I'm just going to cut off up here, along here, and that's going to go down there, like so. There we go. And there's that leaf. And now we're going to do another leaf in another colour. So this one was in Granny Apple Green. This one is in Lemon Lime Twist. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Just do that there. So I'm going to cut that one off there. Thought this was an ingenious idea to have this sort of pattern that runs through, but that it comes apart as you open the card. Thought that was quite ingenious. That's right, there. And then this, which is going to go there. There we go. And then the last bit, actually we'll move this up and we'll do this bit, I think, there. So otherwise the tail is going to hang too much off the bottom, and we can't stick this one because it's on the panel there. That can go there, like so. There we go. Like so. There we are. Just going to trim that little leaf off because I don't want that to, don't want that to stick the panel down there. So that's our leaves, and then all we've got to do is stick our daisies on. I've gone round with my bone folder and just turned some of the petals up here. So I realise I'm doing white on white, so I'm going to do just a splodge in the middle of the daisy, and there, and then a half one, and this up there. Fingers are so sticky, this heat. So I sound like I'm moaning a lot. I'm sorry, I just do with passion hate the heat. And then another half one. Like so. And then at the bottom, another one. So you can put it quite close to the edge, but not too overlapping, because it'll get caught. There we go. And another one. And then we're going to go through and put all the middles on those. Like so. Where's my tweezers? There they are. So the round ones I'm using on the full daisies. There's two different kinds of middles that you get. Come here. And there's round ones, and there's sort of like little three-cornered ones, rounded three corners. I just love this fresh colour scheme, these daisies with the green. I think it's really lovely. It's one of my favourite die sets from the new catalogue. I think my first love is making cards with dies rather than stamps, but I suppose I shouldn't say that as a Stampin' Up demonstrator. There we are. There's my finished card. And then I'm just going to add a happy birthday. I've already heat embossed this in white on black card. This is from Days to Remember, and it's that little happy birthday. And I'm just going to do a fishtail on here. So I'm going to cut up in the middle and then cut to meet that in the middle. Do have a punch that can do that. You might have a punch that does that, but actually I don't mind doing it by hand there. And then just a little bit of glue on there. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it through to the end with me today, I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. Hope you might give it a go. So yeah, I think I'd be interested to see what you do with this format rather than Dainty Daisies. And don't forget to watch all the other videos in the hop. There'll be some brilliant inspiration for you from all the other participants. So if you go down, all the links will be below, so you can just find where I've marked where I am, so you can just carry on hopping, or you can pop over to my blog. There'll be a link to my blog, and you can pop over there, and I'll have some more photos, close-up photos for you, and again the link of all the contestants, all the participants. So thank you so much for joining me today. There are both my cards, like I said, exactly the same. And I'll be back really soon with another video for you. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, if you think you'd like to see more of my tutorials. But meanwhile, thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye.